But, I've been traveling around the world for a long time. I've been to a lot of places, and I missed my trip to the Philippines in January because of as you know, because of the volcano eruption shutting down the Manila airport.
You told me
And
about that, yes.
yeah, and that would have been my 45th origin trip. Okay. So I go a lot to places around the world. And one of the things that I've done is that I have made friends with farmers and their families. I have relationships with them. Well, what that means is that I've spent time in their homes, in their churches, in their villages, in their clinics, hospitals. And over these years, I've seen farmers that live in mud huts, with straw. And their floors are made from mud. Their children, they may not even have mosquito nets for their children. People die of malaria. They die in Africa of HIV/AIDS.
Yep.
They die because they don't have the right medicine. And what I'm trying to say is that many of the people that I have visited over the years have lived life on the edge. And they've lived it somehow, mysteriously, joyfully. So what I'm saying is, not to oversimplify this, but I have seen people, and so have you, in the depths of poverty, but yet they smile. And I'm not, of course, they want better access to medical care and housing and education. Yes, yes, yes. But
that's something we can learn from them.
Yes, yes. And I think that's happening. And my prayer is that in America, we will learn from those among us in America. We have many people in America who live life on the edge. Many people who are poor, who don't have health insurance, who don't have medical care, who don't have food. Now we have almost 20 million people who don't have jobs. Almost 20 million. And so, I mean, Father Greg Boyle, who I write about in the book, says, if you want to see God, go to the low places. The low places. Well, I've been in the low places. I've seen it for 15 years. We have low places in America. And guess what? We have even lower places in America now. And so we should go to the low places. We can do that in our hearts. We can do that with our eyes. We can do it with our ears. And pretty soon we'll be able to physically go to those low places and see God. That's where we're going to see God. That's where we're going to learn. We're going to learn what half of the world is waiting to teach us. They've been living like this their whole lives. And so did their parents and grandparents. It's not new. We act in America like, oh my gosh, this is new. This is really, there are people who live like this on the edge? Yes. Yes.
Shawn, I think you have just answered my last question, which was what meaning can we derive out of all this? But, if you have anything that you'd like to fill in on that question, I'm all ears. Because like myself, I think there are tens of thousands of people who have read your book and who's looking forward to you for meaning.
Well, I think the way I answered the question in terms of we are students. So even the people who are rich and wealthy and educated and experienced and confident, we need to accept the humility of the experience. We need to breathe in the humility that's happening to us now and be willing to be students and to be students again, because I think it's very important that we are attentive and focused on what we have to learn, even if it's darkness. Now that's on a very macro sense. On a micro sense, I think that the way we should go to the book Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And he is the one who survived the Holocaust and survived brutal conditions in concentration camps. And he would say to this situation that we can derive meaning from the most challenging, harrowing, tragic situations that life can present us with. And the way we do that is by being aware of the freedom that we have to make a choice between the stimulus that we see in front of us and the response that we make in our minds. And this is a great freedom. He says this is the greatest freedom of humanity. And I think it is. And so we as individuals have a choice to make every minute. And even when we miss that opportunity, we have another chance in the next minute, the next hour, the next day. And I think that this is a very personal, individual practice, because for people who have an understanding of what their vocation is or their calling, they can turn to their calling in this moment, and they can say, where is the connection between this pain and suffering that I'm experiencing now and my own individual calling? And how can I derive meaning from that? How can this deepen my own vocation? Where does it deepen my calling in life, to business or teaching or whatever my profession may be, or whatever I may be in life? And that is where we derive meaning. We derive meaning by turning to our calling and by asking the universe that we're able to view this current pain and suffering in our lives from that lens and from that filter. And many days we will think to ourselves, there's no meaning. There's no meaning. But that's okay, because our practice will let us return to that question, and we can ask that question over again, and eventually we can have moments where we are able to make that choice of how we're going to respond to this tragic stimulus and this bad experience in front of us. That's how we derive meaning.
So even yourself in the past weeks, there are times where you couldn't find meaning.
Yeah, yes. And in the past weeks, what I would say is that I have experienced darkness. I've experienced what it means to be lost, and what I do in those situations is I call a friend or trusted mentor or elder, and I have 2 or 3 of those in my life. Many of them have been around for a long time, and I share with them my darkness, and I confess to them my fear, and they help me. They help set me back on my path and set me back on my way. And then maybe in a week or 10 days, I'll be calling them again. Wow. It's okay. And then, sometimes people call me and I call others. This is how we work together. This is how we work together on this path.
You're a mentor to many young people.
I have been over the years through our Chocolate University program. We have a Chocolate University program, and we have young people in elementary school, middle school, and high school. And in fact, we just had to cancel our high school trip to Tanzania that was scheduled for July. It would have been our 10th year to bring high school students from my town to meet cocoa farmers. Anyway, yes. So many of those students over the past 10 years, I'm still in touch with now.
I hope that I can be one of those students.
Yeah,